good. Well, on behalf of the K Club, I would like to welcome Nick Bianchi into our chat room. Nick has a strong association with the K Club. He's a member, guest speaker in the past, and kindly introduced new members to us, which we're very grateful for. So thank you for that. I think we'll start our chat possibly by you giving us a brief history of your family business, and also an update on what you did in your career before you joined the family business in 2005.
Well, hi there, Mike. Good to see you again. Yeah, business-wise, how we started, if you say the name Bianchi, we hail from Italy, northern Italy, in fact. And question I get asked is what prompted our family to leave the shores of Lake Como to come to Macclesfield. Quite simply, Mike, it was because back in 1854, we've been going 166 years, there was a civil war raging in across Italy. And my great-grandfather, Bianchi, and his brother-in-law, Arighi, decided to flee the civil war and moved to many Italians were going to Northern Europe, but why Macclesfield is because there was an affinity with the silk industry, where we come from in Como, Lake Como. It's a very strong silk production area, and Macclesfield is obviously known for being one of the largest silk producers in the world at the time. So that's why, even though they were cabinet makers, they chose to come to Macclesfield.
Very good, very good. And your career before you joined the family business, what did you do post school? Did you go to university, or did you?
Yeah, I did. Languages was my passion, actually, at university, and I never really looked at joining the family business as a career. I wanted to plough my own furrow, and I lived my degree. I did in French and Italian, and then I did a master's. And then coming out of that, it was like there was a job advertised for a sports translator up in Manchester, looking after the requirements for football clubs that had either players coming into their football club from either Italy or France, or on nights like Champions League games. So the company I worked for had a very association with Manchester United. So I was seconded to United for doing all press conferences, and it was a very exciting, very good job, first job, especially as we've just spoken off air about our love for football as well. So as a 24-year-old coming out of Bristol uni, that was fun. And then I wanted to get more commercial acumen. Business was obviously the field I wanted to go into, and there was an opportunity to move into the grocery industry. And there was a fruit brokering company. Again, I was able to utilize my language skills with that. And that was a real good introduction into the business world, Mike, when you're dealing with Sainsbury's and Tesco's and as the scary people like that, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. Going back to your football job with your French and Italian, did you get to meet the legendary Eric Cantona or any other?
That's Eric. Eric was just still at the football club, actually. In the 96-97, I flew with the team over to Turin. There was a Champions League game, Juventus. I just remembering then the likes of Beckham, and there were kids, and there were just youngsters. But Eric and Peter Schmeichel were the kind of senior pros. Brian McClare, if I remember rightly.
A good Scotsman. A good
Scotsman, Mike. Yeah, they were the senior pros. That was reflected in the whole dynamics of the team bus as well. The kind of seniors were more at the back, as I remember. I mean, it's going back over 24 years. But Eric was there. It was when I first started doing it. He left at the end of that season. But met some wonderful people. A little anecdote. When I was doing the job, obviously with Manchester United, I was asked if I could, just help out, just around about, the club for Champions League games. And Beckham, David was after about learning Italian. He just then started seeing a girl in Manchester, an Italian girl. So I was seconded to give him some Italian lessons, but then he met Victoria, and I didn't hear from him anymore. But, there were good times, especially loving football and being in
Yeah.
the industry. It was great. But
Good.
yeah,
Good.
that was a after a few years, it just became a job then, which, you know, always you like your passions to remain your passions, you know. And no, it was the time was right. I had some really fun times doing that job. Like I said, moved actually, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned in my talk at K Club when you were down at St Ives that time, but I was asked to do the same press conferences when England hosted Italy at Wembley. And yeah, some wonderful times, yeah. So especially as the first job out of university.
Yeah. What a dream job to get. A dream job.
Oh, dear Lord, yeah, very good.
And then you went into food brokering. Was it a particular type of food? Was it food? Sorry, or was it all foods?
Yeah, it was more your confectionery items and bakery. So
right.
Typically we'd be seeing the counter, well, let's say biscuit buyers, cake buyers, chocolate buyers, doing seasonal lines. It was very good. It taught me a hell of a lot. And the people I worked with, PA Ross, the founder, Peter, was still working in the business. I loved his energy and enthusiasm, which is something I try and, you know, put on the stamp on at Arighi Bianchi. And you know, we were a small player. You know, we were up against some big players in the market, and you know, we were probably selling items that, you know, the supermarkets could probably do without easily. It's not like we're a Kellogg's or, you know, I'm trying to think of the big Coca-Cola, or, you know, so we really had to try hard. But it was really worthwhile. There was nothing better than securing a listing. That was a great feeling, because obviously the promise could go over, you know, a listing could go over 400 stores. So it was good fun, but I learned so much there.
And was that your first taste of a family-run business? You said Mr. Ross was employed in the business himself, or had he moved it to somebody else?
He was chairman then. The MD was Tim Clifford, just a few years older than me. It was, yeah, no, very much so, yeah. But I've always been involved with Arighis in terms of when I was at university or school. During my A-levels, when I got home, I'd work on the vans or work during our sale time. I'd be doing some jobs around the shop. So I've always understood that side of it. But yeah, properly on a serious job, yeah, seeing how it all worked. But it was the personal nature of everything. I loved how Peter, when he came into work, shook everyone's hands. Maybe not now with COVID, you could do that, but just little touches. He did it all the time, and I could see that everyone loved him coming into work. And that's something that I do always, you know, around the shop and when I go to all the warehouses. And, you know, that's a big thing for me. So yeah, you learn, don't you, off people. But Peter was brilliant to that.
Yeah, a very important lesson in life, which you're now carrying on to this day, which is good. So let's turn to Arighi Bianchi. Obviously, lockdown has hit the retail sector very hard. A lot of your customers do like to come to your lovely premises. How has it affected you, your customers, and your staff?
Yeah, good question. Obviously, when we took the decision to close our doors temporarily, that was a huge, you know, issue for us. But I mean, we were following what everyone else was doing. But you know, it was worrying because, you know, obviously, majority of our turnover comes from the store. When suddenly that tap switched off, it is a worry. I mean, fortunately, through the lockdown, we've continued to be able to trade online. You know, we've got a strong web presence, but certainly for the first few weeks, Mike, where it was only deliveries that Parcel Force could collect in the first few weeks, and then it moved on to one of our team could do one delivery, doorstop deliveries. But we're talking cushions or a bar stool. We're talking, you know, 100 quid here, 50 quid here, not your big ticket items. So that was that. Of course, it was tough, and you know, the government measures helped hugely. And I think during lockdown, the key has been to be able to communicate with not only the staff but also the customers as well, just to say, you know, we're still here. The ones that we're really focused on, Mike, were those customers. Say, Mike, if you'd have ordered a sofa in January in the winter sale and it arrived in our warehouse and you were expecting to have it delivered, then suddenly we can't deliver. it's keeping in contact with the likes of yourself and just saying. And so that was something I took on personally. Really, it took me a long time, but I think had about 1,700 customers to email who are in that. Either they had ordered and put money, a deposit, and were waiting for the goods, or the goods were in, but we couldn't physically deliver. And and I think that I got some good response off that. I thought, where can I use my time most effectively? And, you know, a personal email from a family member, a Bianchi, an owner, seemed to be, you know, well appreciated. They had my email, and so I said, look, if you have any problems, just email me back. And then, and from that, I've had, you know, it's got me much closer as well. I think, you know, I can't remember every 1,700 email customer, but if you mention the name, I'll say, oh, remember, you should know.
Yeah, it's added to the relationship building and trust factor with your customers, hasn't it? And made them even more loyal, hopefully, to you going forward.
Well, that's the thing. I know some businesses have completely mothballed and just closed everything. But, you know, we've tried to keep that communication. I'm not saying we've done it perfectly, but we've tried our darndest to do that. It's important for us, you know, we attest to if you are a family business, be in the business, because I think it's a good strength to have. And, you know, you'll see if you go on Trustpilot reviews or Google reviews or TripAdvisor for our cafe bar, I personally reply to them. I think that's really important, that they know that there's family, you know, who are running the business, who are caring for it. But the contribution made during lockdown by the team that we had, I called them like the AB COVID-19. They didn't have COVID, but we called them like, it was 10 for about 10 of us for 5 weeks, and then it grew. It's grown and grown and grown. They've been unbelievable, and it's been brilliant, Mike, in so much. There's been no rank or regiment. It's roll your sleeves up time, and every day's been different. You know, whether leaving a message on the answer machine to changing stuff on the website, updating the COVID statement, trying to do things. Some things work, some things don't, but yeah, at least you can try, you know.
Yeah. And in terms of the gradual reopening, I believe you're now open for business, which is great news. Have you changed many of your practices? Have your staff given you suggestions that maybe you think, yeah, that's a good idea, let's carry on with that, where we didn't do it before?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, the store reopened on the 6th of June. So we've been open now for 3 weeks. In terms of the layout of the shop, we've got arrows defined. We're trying to do as much as possible that a walk through our store. For those who are going to listen to this, is up and down a labyrinth, a maze, people say, but we've tried to do that. And so it's in terms of observing all the social distance regulations, we've done that. If you arrive in the shop, you can use sanitizer, gloves, mask, if you so wish. In terms of what we've actually evolved, we've normally had sales staff like on particular areas and just remained on those areas. But what we've done now is just when they've come back in, we've just said, be flexible. And, you know, maybe what we weren't probably aware of so much as family was there were quite a few territories, you know, it's quite territorial. And, oh no, don't go into that room. That's Mike's room. He'll get angry. You know, little things like that, which we weren't aware of. So everyone now post-COVID, or not post-COVID, but who've come back, and now we've got to be, you know, fully flexible, multitasking, get involved in everything.
Yeah, which again adds to the team ethic, doesn't it? Everybody's in together, they all help each other, and that's what we found in our business, been far more collaboration and help from people who you maybe think were, like you say, in their own zone and not really wanting to move into another zone. So that's good.
Well, just as a part, and he's actually downstairs, but our number 2 housekeeper, David, in the beginning of the year, is now through just being incredible during lockdown. Our number 1 housekeeper, she retired in, say, February. So he was assuming that role, but when the shop shut, he was around the shop, and he ended up looking at emails, and I was like asking him, can you just help me with stuff? He's now our internet office manager now. So it's amazing. He's absolutely brilliant. So and anyone who's coming back off furlough, you know, now realize it's you know, you're not just, oh, I'm only doing that, or I'm not doing this, I'm only doing that. No, new rules now.
Yeah, good. And when do you expect your world famous cafe bar to reopen? I'm sure there's lots of locals that are desperate to come in for a nice coffee and a cake and a nice bit of lunch. When can you let them know they'll be allowed to do that?
And for me as well, Mike, as well. I'm missing it. Luckily, I mean, we've got lovely Illy coffee, Italian coffee, but luckily the rep gave me a little portable Illy machine, so at least I'm not starved of the Illy experience. But yeah, what we're going to do is this: we can reopen on this Saturday. That said, I think we're different in most propositions, and you know, we're the cafe bar there to serve the shop, and it's slightly different. We don't want it to be you have to reserve and that's it, because a lot of our customers are making decisions while perusing over a sofa or a bed, and it's like a walk-in. So what Jeff, our head chef, and his senior team are going to be using the next, well, from the 4th till about the 10th, 11th, just go around various establishments, eateries, cafe bars, coffee shops, department store, restaurants, and just really see what they're doing and get a feel for it. It's not an absolute urgency. We've noticed that we've had loads of customers in since the 6th of June. So it's, we're okay. We just want to, when it opens, we get it right, you know, and not be too stringent. I do understand that it has to, you know, most restaurants will probably say you have to reserve, you have to do this, but we have to also cater for the customers who just like say, oh, we'll just grab a coffee, or it will be different. We've had to take out tables to, you know, in preparation, but we're excited. We're missing it, but we just want it right, and for the sake of a couple of weeks. So we'd say 18th of July, I'd say, when we can get back in.
Good. I'll look forward to that. I'll put that in my diary and try and
well
come
done,
down.
Mike.
In terms of the costs to the business during lockdown, there's financial and non-financial. Can you give us a flavour of both? What financial costs there have been and what non-financial costs?
Financial costs have been, I would say, just making sure the store is safe when we reopened. I mean, there's not much cost going out, or have been. Obviously, you know, furlough has helped that, you know, because obviously when we're not allowed to deliver or we weren't allowed to deliver anywhere, we weren't allowed to have a shop. Obviously, that counts for the majority of our staff. No, I'd say really the cost have been just getting the store prepared and equally getting the drivers back in, the safe reintroduction of two-man deliveries, that they're fully safe. I mean, that's all we've ever done, you know, that when the store reopens. So investment has gone into that area, but it's I'd say we've really tried to keep cost an absolute minimum. And you know, while we've been shut for 3 months, it's a lot of turnover we've lost in 3 months. You know, will we get that back? I don't know. The mood of the camp since we reopened has been positive. You know, people have come in and they're spending. How long that goes on for, who knows? You know, and online as well. There's definitely a surge in online, but the online. I don't know if you're going to move coming onto online, so I don't want to preempt anything, but the online was getting strong for us anyway. We did a big investment in that in 2019, so we're lucky in some respects that we can, you know, we can adapt and we're able to deal with the business coming in online.
Yeah, no, I was wanting to come on to that because one of the joys of coming to your shop is to actually see, smell and breathe the lovely furnishings and products you sell. You can't always get that experience from looking at a picture of something online, but you feel that your clientele are adapting and your purchases and sales have increased despite people maybe not touching and feeling the product.
Well, you know, we had a 3,500 order for Urquhart furniture Sunday, which is, you know, normally the average order is about £500-600. So that would demonstrate that they're happy, that they may have seen it elsewhere, or they may have actually come into the shop, but you have to, you know, there are a lot of people who are scared of going out and being in contact with other people. So you have to make the customer experience online as good. But I agree, we want to encourage the in-store experience, and we want to encourage people to come in, very much so. And when the cafe bars reopen, that will further solidify that. We've got it all set up and geared up. We've got 200 odd car parking free car parking spaces. We've got, it's a safe place to visit in terms of, with the social distancing. And I agree with you. There's nothing for me when people come in, you touch it, you feel it. To buy a bed off plan is a risk, isn't it? It's like what you think might be a medium of bed might not be, the manufacturer's description. So no, I agree. We want to, people to return back to the shop, absolutely. But we have to accept that there's going to be a population. And in terms of the younger generation, we're getting a lot younger customer profile, and they might not be that bothered for the customer in-store experience. We're certainly finding that very much so. Our customer age profile's reduced over the last 2 years heavily, massively. So it's so now we're getting 25 to 40-year-olds, where probably 5 years ago it would start at about 40 plus.
Yeah, which is a good trend, because obviously the older people get, the less they need new furnishings, whereas the youngsters tend to maybe revamp their properties every 5-6 years. So you've got that resale option there, which you maybe didn't have with the older clientele.
Yeah, I mean, the key thing is they're such an important part of our business, and we want it that a customer who's been shopping with us for 50 years still can come in and feel an identity with the business as well. But we also reflect, we'd like to think that those coming in for the first time in their 20s will say, oh wow, but the key to that is the marketing. And a big push for us in 2019 was the Instagram, Facebook, particularly Instagram. That's been absolutely huge for us, and using targeted social influencers who make a difference and who drive traffic. We've used quite a few. There are a few that don't work at all, but there's one or two who it genuinely works. So that's moved our marketing ethos and philosophy from doing your traditional TV adverts, press adverts, magazine adverts to social media, social retargeting. Yeah, that's
great that a business formed in 1854 is now at the forefront of social influencing. So that's a great journey you've done.
I get asked more about Molly May coming to our shop. I don't know Molly May. I don't know if you know Molly May, Mike, from Love Art.
I do, yes.
I get more messages about Molly. And someone messaged me yesterday saying, I believe, did you meet Tommy and Molly? Like, there's some rock stars. And I was like, yeah. And said about Tommy. I said, yeah. I said, we looked after them, and then after they'd selected product for their apartment, took them up for the cafe bar for some lunch. What struck me was, when I didn't know this, my nephew told me that Tommy has a penchant for mayonnaise, but I didn't know that. He ordered one of our homemade burgers. And normally 1 pot of mayonnaise, Mike, would suffice, definitely. I mean, maybe 1.5 if you do. But he ordered 8 pots of mayonnaise that lunch. So, if I think he does is an ambassador for Hellman's. Well, he is authentic, because I can state he had 8 pots of mayonnaise with his burger.
Very good. You need to get an introduction to his brother Tyson then as well sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, could be. Yeah, that's a good point. He must live locally, I'm sure.
I know Tyson lives in Morecambe.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are you a boxing fan? Mike?
Periphery boxing. Yeah, I like the big fights. I don't follow the undercard, shall we say? But yeah, I quite like the big ones. Yeah. Yeah.
I just say about history though. Brown Shipley, top trumpers by. I did some research. You were 1810, William Brown, is that right?
That's correct. Yes. Yeah.
So you top
he was
trumpers.
A shipping merchant in Liverpool originally, and he formed a bank and a wealth management service to help the traders over in Liverpool, and then it grew from there. So so we did trump you by a few years. I'm sorry about that.
I know. But I really banged the drum on your part. Was it the Quintet Banking Group? But on the family business, I really try where possible to bang the drum of family businesses. So I'm involved in a couple of bodies, family business bodies. So there's about a statistic I read, and 4.8 million family businesses in the UK currently.
Right.
And that could be from a fish and chip shop to a greengrocer to an electrical shop, you know.
The sad thing going forward is, though, how many will there be when normality returns? Because unfortunately, you hear stories, don't you, about some just not being able to survive. My eldest son heard yesterday he's being made redundant from a vegan restaurant he works in because there's not enough capacity or foot flow to keep him. So, yeah, there will be some sad stories, but I suppose life goes on and people just have to bounce back if they can.
The new normal, that's what they're talking about, isn't it? The new normal. Yeah. Sorry to hear about you. Sorry to hear about your son.
No, it's okay. We're lucky enough we can support him in the interim, and he's actually got a job for a new Greek brasserie tomorrow. So hopefully he can get a job there, front of house. So that will hopefully keep him back on the straight and narrow.
Super.
So that's good.
Pleased to hear. Pleased to hear.
So in terms of family business succession, in my business, it's always an issue because sometimes the children don't want to take up the mantle. Sometimes the owners don't want to let go. And I know that your dad is still company chairman at a sprightly 83 years old, which is good going.
Yeah, that's right.
Does he still think he's in charge, or?
Well, yeah, he probably does. I mean, I think he's brilliant, and he cements everything we're about as a family business, and he puts his desk right by the front entrance, and as an entrance, as a welcome, you've got, you know, a gentleman who's, you know, been with the business for 63 years, absolutely focused on the customer, and it's a great introduction. And I, you know, when I'm around the shop with customers, I'll always make a beeline for them to meet Dad. You know, very, very, very proud of Dad. But no, I think he's earned the right now that he gets involved in meeting, does the stuff that makes his heart beat faster, if that makes sense, you know. So just being with the customers and dealing with customers and dealing with the problems as well. He's always taught me that, you know, Nick, always run towards a problem. So he's brilliant at that, you know, because things do go wrong, don't they, Mike? And he picks up the phone. So I've learned a lot off him for that. But yeah, no, like I say, in terms of succession, it's funny because I've got downstairs one floor is my nephew James. He's hoping to do a master's himself in London in September. He was working in London, but that all finished with COVID, so he's been helping us here. And you know, I was just thinking about that, you know, succession. I mean, our ages in the 5th generation are from 4 years old up to 25, I think. Some of my cousins' children, they're working down in London, some good companies, Johnson & Johnson being one, you know, so there's no pressure for them to join the business, but it would be great to continue the business in the family. That, you know, I see myself as a custodian to the next generation, for the next generation, like Dad has, but you can't force them. I never was forced in. I came in, you know, came in when I was 30, whenever it was, 34, I think it was. And I think that's good, that you shouldn't, you know, Dad, my father and uncle didn't have a choice. You know, they were 18, they came out, left school and went in 19. I can't imagine how difficult. There was not much business going on in Macclesfield down where we are, you know, when the town was, everything was going up at the top of the town. How they did it, I don't know, but you know, the fair play. So I'd like continuity would be amazing.
Good. Well, if you're anything like your father, you'll still be there in another 40 years' time just to oversee that.
Serving coffee and no, I enjoy it. Someone said on Saturday, actually, a customer said, "You look like you really enjoy it." I said, "Well, I don't. I love Saturdays, just walking around talking to customers because there's no meetings going on, and it's just it's lovely. It's like welcoming someone into your home. You know, it's just nice, and that's what we try and make it. And we haven't got a mission statement, I don't think, per se, but we've got like our customers are our friends. So, you know, so if one of our customers has just had an operation and can't move from go upstairs or something, we'll just loan them a chair. You know, just something that a friend would do. Little things like that, and yeah, it's nice. You've got the ability to make these decisions as well, so you can really imprint your philosophy and stamp on something.
Yeah, great, good. Well, it sounds like your business is both work and play. You love it. You're happy to do it 24/7. If you do have any free time, though, when things settle down, what do you enjoy doing yourself in life?
I really enjoy that. That's been quite interesting, actually, just on getting used to things. Like we were just saying, weren't we, or getting used to having Zoom calls. I've been working out with a good mate who's a PT, and with about 6 of us 3 times a week, and we go on, I think it's the House Party app, but it's the same concept. And you know, he's given us all this equipment, and I'm working out in the garden. But I'm used to it now. I can saunter into the day nicely. I'm not rushing and running around. So fitness is one. Sport. Invested in a sports agency as an side thing, and I've got along with my partner, we've co-founder. We've got about 15 players on the books, looked after by intermediaries. So that's just a nice thing. They're typically footballers like League 1, League 2, National League. Obviously, always hope that one will make it to the promised land of. And then I got recently involved with 3 of us with a gin business as well. So Declaration Gin. So just again, some friends got together. Close friends, 3 of us. Well, 5 with the partners, 5, 6 of us, and so yeah, it was quite nice going to Chivo when it was open and having a gin and tonic, which I'm part of as well. Declaration. So yeah, a little plug for Declaration Gin.
Right. I'll try and hunt that down in fine wine shops and establishments in the future. Well, that's been very interesting, Nick. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your sharing your experiences and your business experiences with us. We hope to see you at the K Club sometime soon. We are hoping to try and get a breakfast again in September or October, but we will be contacting the members. But just thank you very much for your time today.
No problem at all. Thank you very much indeed, Mike. Thanks very much. Pleasure to see you again.